learning how to we're going to be learning how to create this 3D character inside Blender. So it's a sci-fi character we're going to be creating, and we're going to be using very basic shapes, and we're going to be using a special kind of technique that makes it easy for you to design very complex characters without actually uh, doing too much work. All right, so these are the basics of character design. So um, let's just go into it. So the first thing you need to do is to turn on two add-ons if you don't already have it turned on. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your preference. Let me go to the preference. If I go to my edit, go to preference here. Now the first thing you want to turn on is go to your add-on. If you're using the latest version, go to your extensions and download it. So the first add-on is Rigify. I think Rigify is there by default, even in the recent versions. You turn on the Rigify, that's the first thing you turn on. Then the second thing you turn is Skinify. So you just turn on this, okay? So you just check it. If the box is not checked, you just check it. And once you check it, you come down here. And before you save, the last thing you want to do is go to save and load. Over here, we are done with the add-ons. Go to save and load and turn on this auto run Python script. If you don't turn this on, your Rigify will not work properly. Sometimes it's going to turn off on its own. So come over here and then click on save preference. Now we can be able to close. So the first thing we're going to be using is the Rigify, and to be able to have access to Rigify. Now, basically Rigify is like an add-on that helps you to be able to rig a particular object, a 3D object. Let's say, for example, you have a character and you want to be able to put controls that will control the fingers, the head, the different parts of the body so that you can be able to move it. It's just more like a skeleton. That's the idea of rigs. So Rigify is an add-on that is used for basic rigging inside Blender. Now, to be able to have access to it, I'm going to first, if you look at my 3D cursor, is here. I want my 3D cursor to come to the center of my entire 3D scene. The shortcut to do that is Shift C. Once you press Shift C, your 3D cursor comes to the center here. Now, the reason why I did that is that I want my 3D cursor to be at the center of everything I'm actually doing. So I'm going to just do that. So the next thing I want to do is just come in there. I'm going to press Shift A and go to my armature. In my armature, I'm going to be using the human meta rig. So once I click on the human meta rig, it's going to give me a rig like this. So if you look at the thing there, it's more like a skeleton. So once you actually get that skeleton, we are going to be doing some few things on it. So it comes with, in fact, you can actually use it for designing very complex characters. So now we're going to select this rig, okay? Now that's what Rigify does for you. If your Rigify is not turned on, you can't have access to this particular thing that is there now. So now let's use the next thing, which is actually the Skinify. So I'm going to go into my object, go into my pose mode. So we have about 3 modes when you're using your skeleton, okay, or your rigs, okay. So I'm going to come in here and go to my pose mode, okay. So in my pose mode now, that's where you can animate things. That's what pose mode. When we talk about animation of characters, we'll talk about that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click on this. You can press N on your keyboard to bring it out. Now, what you're going for is under the create. So I have a lot of add-ons turned on my system, so that's why you're seeing all these things here. So just make sure you go select the one of create. That's where you're going to find it. Usually the 4th one, by default. So, but if you have more add-ons like my own, it's going to actually change. So you have create there. Now, the default setting is quite okay. The only thing I like changing is this part. I think here usually is 0.8. You can make here up to 1. What it's doing is that it's going to just make the thing is going to form to be bigger. This one is for the fingers, all right? So we're going to be using this particular rig, okay, to be able to, I always like selecting everything, I always like, if you actually just select everything here, And when you click on add shape, we are going to be creating a mesh around this particular armature, or you call it rig. We call it armature here, like that's the name for it, okay? But you can also call it a rig. So once I select everything with A, I'm going to click on add shape. So once you add your shape, it might give you some errors here, but it's still going to actually work. So that's what you actually have. So you already have a mesh that is actually running over the entire object. So you yourself will not have to begin to work with it. So everything is actually already made for us. So now, for more exploration, you can go ahead to go and explore other things. You can be able to turn on the shapes, fill gaps. If you want to create more characters that don't have all this kind of thing, you can fill the gaps, okay? So that if you want a hand that is that goes in through, that is not cut like this, okay, you want that is joint by default, you can actually click on this fill gap and you have that. But this is kind of pattern I'm actually looking for now. So now once you create this, I'm going to just go back to my object mode, select the mesh now. And this mesh is actually not a real mesh right now. If you actually enter into edit mode, you see that you can't really select it. It doesn't have subdivisions, it doesn't have faces or edges. So you need to convert this into a mesh, okay? So I'm going to come in here and go to my object, make sure you're selecting it, go to object, and in my object I'm going to go down to my convert, and I will tell it, please convert this particular thing to a mesh. So mesh is a type of 3D object that has the faces and the edges. So if I enter into edit mode now, this is what you'll be seeing. So that's actually what you are hoping to be able to work with. So I'm going to come in here now and I'm going to use L. So you see I have extra object because of the different shapes that are on this particular armature. That's the reason why I'm having all this here. So I'm just going to just quickly delete them. So I'm just moving my mouse over it and pressing L on the keyboard. So I have something like this. So make sure you don't select the thing you don't want to select is this big one at the back here. You don't want to select that. So we just want to select only this one. Just click here, select only these ones. So let's keep selecting. If you find difficult to select very fast, you can actually go into your X-ray mode, press B on your keyboard and just select all of this from here. So we have something that looks like this. Delete all the faces. L, 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 L. Let's do that. So we'll have this here, okay, one more there. And I also like to delete this one too. So we'll have something that looks like this. Lastly, let's go in and delete these guys here. And this one too. So this is what I'm going to be having. So it makes it easier for me to be able to work with my character. So I'm leaving the things I actually need. So now let's go into the character itself. So I'm going to start with the head here and enter into edit mode. I'm going to just click on one of it and then press L over it to select all of it. So now I can be able to scale this. So depending on what you're actually going for, I'm going to press O to remove my proportion editing. Just scale this out this way. I'm going to have something like that. I will use this to actually move down a bit more like this. So I'm trying to make sure that my head doesn't come down too much. So you have the head here. So you have something that looks like, look at this shape here. I don't want this shape either. So I'm going to also delete that shape. So just select this and just bring this down to somewhere here. And we're going to also scale this up so that it becomes a bit taller. If you want the head to be a bit pointed like the other one, let's turn off our X-ray so that we'll be selecting only what we want to, what we're seeing. I'm going to just press E, go up, click, and then scale it in like this. And I'm going to press, you can actually use select more or control plus on your keyboard, and I'm going to turn on my proportion editing over here, or you press O on your keyboard, O, and you can be able to actually scale out this edge like this, something like this. If you are looking for something like that, or if you want it to actually come a bit closer this way, let's scale it in like this rather. So if you look at here, these two sharps, I'm going to put a loop cut here, Control R, click, click again, and you can be able to turn off your proportion editing, and I'm going to scale this out just a tiny bit like this. Now to make this to be able to be working fine, I will actually add my subdivision modifier to this model. So once you add it, you actually see that it gives you a smoother edge. So here you can then begin to work on anything you want to work on and see what it's going to really look like. So I'm going to actually scale this out a bit more to actually make it to be very rounded. So I think this is okay for me. Let me look at this character I have. It has an expanded face. So I'll select everything, L again, and I'm going to scale this out like this. Okay, so we'll have something like this. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to just come in here, and I'm going to press L on this, and I'm going to push this down a bit more like this. Now I'll press R on this and press X and just make it to stand straight a bit more. Now let's select, let's scale it out a bit like this, and then select the top part, push shift and select the top part, and then the top part is a bit in, so I'm going to press E, scale it in, and then E again. The last one, I'm going to do another E for it there. So we'll have something like this. Now let me check something on this. So we'll have, I think this one is quite too long. So we might need to E, just scale it in like that, and then E. Something like this. And the last one, if you look at the edges, is somewhat curved, so you just press another E to, to round it up. So we can be able to select this L on this here, and we can be able to bring this down a bit more to join up with this particular head here. So I need to see this came in, and okay, we'll have something like this. So here I'm going to select this part, alt click here, and I think I also need to select at the bottom here and just scale it out like this. Press E to just round it up. So we're going to leave it this way for the meantime. Now let's go into the body now. So select this L, L on this, and we're going to actually scale out. Now if you want everything to actually work well, so you can select all of them, L, let me do it again, L, L, and L. You can also do this one to L2, and you can be able to scale it out. So I think that last one we're going to actually delete it from the reference we have. So, but we can actually use it. The reason I don't like using it is because of the way it's actually positioned. So I think I'm going to just L on it and delete this face here, this particular one. So we're going to select this now. Select again, L, L, L. So just do your own thing. You can always be creative to create your own original style of design. So I'm going to scale it out to make it a bit fatter. So we'll have this here. So we're going to be bringing this a bit closer to the hands, but not extremely close to the hands. So we're going to actually put something there later. So now to be able to put the thing to link them to each other, I'm going to select this top one here, and then this one and this one, and you can actually just use this and drag it down this way like that, and you have something like this. So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to bring this one down. So we'll have this here, and lastly this one here. So this one needs to have more subdivisions, so we will need to drag it down first, scale it out a bit more, then E to E, and then lock it on the Z axis and just come down a bit. So make sure you're observing the loop cuts, like the creating, don't just do it straight. So have some loop cuts so that when this thing begins to or deform, is going to have different styles. So I have this here. Okay, I think I just remembered something that we missed. So I'm just going to just do E, and I'm going to curve this into inside here. Let's do it from this side, scale it this way, and I'm going to just bring it down a bit this way. Let's save our work. Now for the leg, we're going to just select. Now we need to start working on, let me see how this character looks like from different perspective. I think this is okay. So I think here also needs some work. Press O on your keyboard and you can scale this out on this side. Okay, so we'll have something like this. Now we need to begin to work on different parts. Now we want, when we work here, it should also affect here based on the mesh you have already created. So I'm going to just go and press enter into edit mode. Now once you enter into edit mode, if you look at here, we'll have what we call the mirror, okay, where you can be able to mirror things. You can actually mirror things here. So if you come in here and say please mirror this, it's actually called mesh symmetry. So you want them to be symmetric so that you won't be doing one thing on one side and it will not be corresponding to the other side. So because this mesh is already by default created this way, you can be able to work on it like that. So if I have this X, so that means that anything that is happening on this axis X will also happen this side too. If I was this way, I will use Y axis. Maybe if I want anything to do at the back to happen here, then that's the thing I will use. So now if I come in here, let me go get a leg and show you something. In fact, briefly, I'm going to hide this armature or this rig. So I'll press H to hide it so that it's not blocking us. So now I'll just come in here and I'm going to select this here, L on this, and you can be able to actually scale this up. Now watch what's happening. Once I'm scaling this up, this other side is actually scaling also. So this keeps that proportion for us. And I would also like to bring it down because I'll be putting a particular kind of shape, a round kind of object at this hinge here. So I'm going to just bring it down, then do the same thing here. But this one, I'm not going to scale it too much because it's the lower part of the leg. Just a bit more. I think I would even like this to actually go fat, to go actually expand more. So we'll have this here now. Then if you want them to join, you can actually drag them together, but we don't really need that for here because we're going to be putting something in between them. Then for the leg, to make the leg to actually look good, we're going to select from here to here, hold shift and select both of them. I'm going to turn on my proportion editing and I'm going to be using connected only. This is not turned on by default. Just click on connected. This will actually make it when you're dragging. Now, what if I start dragging? I will scroll to, you can increase, but it's only affecting this particular mesh. If you don't turn that on, it will actually start affecting everything, even the upper part of the leg. You understand? So you don't want that. So make sure you turn on the connected only. So you just bring this down. So let's bring this down. So what we're trying to do is to actually make this to look like the leg. Let's push this back like that and select the top part here and make it join this leg here. Then for this one here, we're going to select here and here, 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 and just pull it back like this. So we'll have something like this. I think I even need to select all of it, L, and just push it up here so that I can be able to balance this parts. I'd like to push this down a bit more to have something like that. So we'll have a very nice looking character now. So for the hands, let's go work on the hands. So I'm going to come to the hand and just select this. Anyone you want to use, you can use this side and just, you can scale it up. You can use this to scale it up, or you can actually, let me turn this off and just do S to scale it up like this. The goal is just to make it to be a bit bigger than this hands. This arm to be bigger than this hand here. That's the goal. So you can select this one and just scale it in just a tiny bit. Then let's select these parts and just push it to come closer, just a tiny bit closer, because we're going to put something there. So right now we already have this character and it's looking quite nice. So now let's save our work. Now the next thing I want to do is to add these round things here that we'll have here. So this one is something you have to do carefully, all right? Because if you don't do it carefully, it will destroy everything you have worked for so far. So now we need to add a new mesh, and this mesh will not be mirroring. The only one that can mirror is these ones I already have here. So I need to actually add it. So first I'm going to just come in here. Let me just click somewhere there. Make sure you are in the right place. Just click and just go around to be sure you are in the right place so that you don't have to move it. So I'm in edit mode. Anything I add in edit mode, it's part of the mesh I'm actually adding it to. So bear that in mind. So I'm going to do Shift A and I'm going to go for UV sphere. Once I add my UV sphere, it's going to be big, so I'm going to just press S. Please don't click any of that thing, just press S immediately and scale it down. So once I scale it down, I can be able to have this, come down. Now, we're going to maintain this for proportion sake. So we're not going to, even if you want to change them later, you will have to use the same size for all of it. Then later you can now select the ones you want to change their sizes and change them. Don't change them now. Just make sure that any size that we maintain here will be used all over the entire parts. Like if you look at here, I'm using the same thing all over the entire part of it. So I'm going to do it, let me just do Shift D and bring one, and I'm going to press Z to lock it. There will be one that will be used here. Let me drop it there. I'm not going to use it yet. Just drop it there. It's going to be, I'm going to use to do something there. So I'm coming here, L, and I'm going to do Shift D. Let me be sure this is actually in the right place. Okay, so you can view from the top and see it's in the right place. Shift D and duplicate, and I'm going to just drop this one this side. So if you look at here, you actually see the way it is. It's looking nice. Then we can be able to select, I'm going to do another one for the legs, L. I'll do Shift D and just bring it down for this part of the leg here. Just drop this somewhere here. Then I'll do Shift D again and just drop this over here. Now let's finish up. I just have to drop it in the main place I actually want them to be. So I'm going to press L now and make sure you're selecting only this one. L, Shift D, and then I'll start moving the same size. I will show you how to minimize them so that the same thing that we're doing here will also work there. But though this particular mirroring will not be working again on this shape that I actually added now. So just drop this here. One of the things I like about this technique is that the mesh is very high, has low resolution. It's not too high. So just have this. Leave it that size for now because we are trying to maintain symmetry as much as possible. Just bring this, bring it down, and let's go from here. Push this. Then come over here, click on this L now, press Shift D, always drag it along the axis because you're trying to actually maintain some level of symmetry on the design. Just drop it there. Use your arrows to drop it as far as possible close to the other one. So we'll have this. Shift D now and drag this one, put this one down, bring it close to this. Just try your best not to scale for now. We're going to scale soon. Press 1 on your keyboard and look at how it looks. You can actually look at it like this and see if it's actually okay. So I think it's quite as perfect as possible. Then for the legs here, I'm going to just select this L and L, do Shift D and just drag both of them down this way. So once you reach there, you can be able to select this one L and you can be able to push it in here, and then this one L, push it in here, and I don't think they're in the same location, so we need to select both of them, L again here, and just drag it into this point. Then I'm going to do another Shift D and bring it down for this part of the leg. I think I also have that on the leg. Just drop it somewhere there. Okay, so now we have this. We have all this here now. So then lastly, we're going to be working on this. But before we do that, I'm going to quickly just look at this and make sure that I'm looking at something happening here that I don't like. I'm going to just push it in a bit like that. So now I need to scale these things down. So for example, I want this hand to be a bit smaller. So I'll press L here and bring my mouse here, L there. Go in here to my transform pivot points and change it to individual origin. And I'll press S and just scale it down this way. So it will be scaling on both sides all at once. So you can do that. You can also select this L and L and scale it down to just something like that. Here I want here to be a bit bigger, so I'm going to select this and just do S and have something like that. Do the same thing here. L, always click first before you do your L, so that you don't mistakenly select something else somewhere. And then scale out like that. Then L and L, scale out just a tiny bit. And this L and L, make sure selecting the right thing. L and L and L here, S to scaling. So here is not very balanced, so I'm going to just balance it like this. So always lock these things on either the 7 to go from the top view. Okay, so we'll have that. Now if you look at this thing that we actually have something like this. So we'll have a very simple design I actually did here to actually make it look nice. So this particular thing here, I'm just going to just come in here and I'm going to do something here. Just use my face selection. We'll just select from the top here, hold Alt and just select to select around it, hold Shift and then select this one. So we'll have something like this. So you can actually count it to actually be sure you're in the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they are equal. So once I have that, I'm going to press E on my keyboard, click to accept, and then you can scale in like this. All right. So you can just scale in a bit more like this, and then click on E again, and then click to accept again, and then scale in more. So you're going to be having something that looks like that. So once you actually do that, we are going to just go on to think I need to do something here. Okay, this is okay. So now I'll select here from my design. Let me check the things I did here. We'll have the one that comes out and the one that goes in. So I'm just going to go to the center here and select this one here and just do E to extrude it out like that. Just something like this. And check from this side. When you do the first one, like I told you, whenever you're doing subdivision modifier, it has this thing that it does to meshes. Let me right click and smoothen this first so that I'll be seeing exactly what I'm doing. If you press Ctrl R on this, let me see, you can click here and click again and just add a new shape here so that it tightens this edge. So if you look at the edge, it was not tight, it was just looking loose somehow. We don't want that. So let's select this top part here now. Hold Shift, select this top part and just push it in like this. So we'll have this. And we can select this and select this and this. I'm going to use 2 on this part. Okay, so this is more like the robotic ear. Now make sure you are still in the video origin, and then you can just do this. You do E and you can just go in like this. Okay, but you can start with the first one. Just click to accept it first, then E again, move in, and then you stop, then E a third time. So if you see the E's I'm actually doing, the extrusion I'm extruding so that there will be more subdivisions, to actually make this thing I'm actually creating to actually become obvious. If you don't do that, you will see that when you extrude something, let me give you an example. If you extrude something now, just by default like this, E, and just move it in, you see that it will just be like rounded. It will not be defined like this one. So you need to actually extrude it twice for it to actually become very defined. So just bear that in mind. So now I've done this, and I would like to I think that's the major thing I did. You can actually, let me see if there's any other design that was done here. I think that's the major design that was done. Let me go back to my solid view mode and view this. Okay, so we'll have this here now. So now I'm going to press L on this and scale it down because the ear should not be too big, and we can just drag it into this place to have some kind of design like that. So make sure that we are on different, press 3 to make sure it's on this axis. Let's mirror it. Oh, we are using an X-ray to look at it from this side. Okay, so we can just do Shift D to duplicate that here and bring it to this side. Let me look at it from the front view here and just look at this. So we need to rotate this. So first I'm going to rotate RZ180, meaning I'm rotating it 180 degrees, but there will still be a problem. If you actually come, you see that the bigger one is meant to be in the front, so we'll now have to rotate it again. Let's check the axis here, that's the x-axis, and then 180, and then this one is now in the front, just like this one here is also in the front. So we'll have something that looks like this. So we'll just quickly check it and be sure that they actually are the same axis. Now normally if you're doing designs like this, you actually use a mirror modifier to mirror things. So but this is the best technique for this particular kind of project if you're doing that. Then for the eyes, I'm going to just select these faces here, and the first thing I'm going to do, I think I'm going to be using this part here. Let me see. If I do that, I'm going to put some loop cuts here because I'm going to be doing something. Click here and then accept it. Control R, click, accept. Okay, so I'm going to be using something here. So now I'm going to just select this part. Now I'm going to do E to extrude. Click to accept, and I'm going to scale it inside. Sorry, we need to turn off our from individual region to medium points. Now do S to scale it in, and also let me see what is. I think there is another thing that is turned on here. E to extrude. Scale it inside. It should come inside like this. That's more like it, and then we can push it inside like this. And I'm going to do another E again and push it inside even more like that. So we'll have something that looks like this. Then for the mouth, I'm going to put a loop cut, not that, sorry. Control R, put it on the horizontal part. Okay, and I'm going to also put another one. 1, 2. So be careful when you're putting these things, because the way you put it can actually tamper with your mesh. So I'm going to just do here E and just move in a bit, and then E again and move in more, one more time, to have something like this. So you can actually go down this way. And I always like to do my third one, E again, to make it more pronounced. That's the extrusion to be more pronounced, like that. Then I'm going to put a symbol here. I think I have a symbol. Put a loop cut here. Okay, I have this loop cut here, and I'm going to be selecting 1 and 2 and just do E. Click on it. I want this to be a certain kind of shape, so I'm going to just scale it. So if you look at what is happening here now, because of my subdivisions, it's acting in a very funny way. So I'm going to do something here now. Let me come back here and make sure that I select this spot. So I want to use my edge selection mode. Select here and bring this, because I want it to be like a sort of V shape. So if you look at what is happening here, look at this part. and this is actually being caused by the subdivision on this thing here. So one of the solutions is that you can put a loop cut somewhere there to actually begin to make that part to show very well. So but even if it doesn't show, we can actually remove it, and I just want you to make that place to have a V kind of shape. So we'll have something like this, and let me be sure that I don't have an extra face there. Okay, all right, so let me just select these two here. I have a V shape there, and then I'll do E, and then I'm gonna do another E again. So if you look at now, you can scale in and then do another E again to actually make it much more pronounced. You want that V to actually come out as much as possible. So if you come out from here, you actually see this particular kind of shape coming in. If you want it to be more pronounced, you can put some loop cuts to be able to make it more pronounced. So we can have, I just select here. So if you look at all these things, you see that because of the subdivisions we have on it, it's actually giving us some kind of rounded shape. Let me push it back a bit and do another E. Let me see if that will fix it. I think that's better now. So now we have this. We can actually select the edges here. Just come in here, select this, the edges. Use your edge selection mode. These edges here. Make sure you're selecting the right edge. If not, it might tamper with what you're doing. And let's try and see if it will refine it. Press N on your keyboard. Now go to your items here. This particular, the first one here. Look at this thing called min crease. So make sure the min crease is actually in 0. Okay. So if you actually take it to, let's take it to 1. Okay. It's already set actually in this particular mesh. So we're going to just leave it that way. The min crease has been set already. So we just have this. So other solutions is that you can model it separately and just come and plant it here. But I think this actually would do exactly what we wanted to do. So this is the mesh that we actually have, and we have every design here. So now let's go quickly to add our materials on this. So the first material we're going to add is going to be the skin here. So I actually use that scooter material because the scooter is actually in this scene, so you can actually use that. So but for the sake of those who do not understand materials, you can just click a new material here, and I'm going to call this my robot, and we can make it to be metallic, and if you want it to be more shiny, you can be able to bring down the roughness to have something that looks like that. If you want it to be a golden robot, you can change the base color to something like that. If you want it to be like Iron Man, you can go for red. But I think I'll just go for golden for now. We will change it to anything we want later. Then for this part, the black parts here, I'm going to create a new material, click on new, and I'm going to be creating a new one. I'm going to call it robots. Clicking here, robots black. Enter into edit mode, and I'm going to select this. Just press L over the things you want to put that material on. L, 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 and then L here, L there, L, 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 and then so we are selecting the parts that we want it to be controlled by a different material. The first material added will be controlling the entire object. So but this second one now, make sure you're selecting the second material and click on assign, and you actually see that now it has a different thing. So I can change this to, let's say, a black color. So that black color, I'll make it a bit metallic, and you can actually reduce the roughness to make it a bit more shiny. So, but don't do it too much. Then for this heart that I will have here, I'm going to just click L on this, L on this, Shift D, and I'm going to bring this in here. Just bring it out. Press 1 to be viewing this from the front so that I can be able to bring this to the center here. Try to align to the center, and we click on new, add a new material, new. I'm going to call this my glow, and for this glow I'm going to make sure I'm selecting this, and I'm going to just assign it, and I'm going to change this principle shader. You have the principle there, you're going to change it, go up and find the emission. We're going to make the emission to be a blue color, and let me change this about 5, the strength to be about 5, so we'll have something like this. So depending on the color you want, so for this particular one we might go for a red color. Let's see, I think blue should be better. Let's work with this for the meantime, we'll still change it later. So over here now, I can just do for the eye, just select these faces, the eyes here, this, 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 this. If you look at what is happening as you're selecting, you're not really seeing anything. So it's because of those things there. So I'll just select the glue and just click on that, and you see, so I think one is missing here, blue. Alright, so we'll have something like this. Do the same thing for the mouth. So make sure you're selecting it properly. Whenever these things are not obvious, just extrude it inside more and it will actually show. So you look at here, this is extruded properly. Select this, and also this one here. Come over here, select this. Okay, so we'll have this, and we can just add that there. So we'll have something that looks like this. For this center point here, I actually use the black shape for this one. So we'll have a very simple design that we'll have here. So, and that's actually how you can be able to design this robot. I think that's basically everything that we actually wanted to put in this particular shape. So you can actually begin to tweak whatever you want to tweak. If you don't like the neck, you can be able to select it, L, and you can be able to reshape it to whatever you want it to be. You can actually shape everything to however you want that shape to actually be. So lastly, we're going to just rig it, because rigging is very, very fast. So we're going to be creating and rigging it. So I'm just going to press Alt H to bring out my rig. So let me hide this one. So this rig is the rig that we used in creating the Skinify. So we'll have this here now. So what you need to do right now is just come over here to this part. Let's just go over to this side here. So if you look at this option here, that's your object data properties. Go down to where you have Rigify. Okay, if you like, you can click on this upgrade. If you're actually creating a real character, you might need to use that. But once you get this, I will say generate rig. So make sure that this is in the center of this particular place. Is the best place you can get the best settings. So this is where I just put this in the center. Please make sure you do it that way, because sometimes if you don't, it might not work well if you don't really put some things in the right place. So make sure you're done modeling so that you don't go and start adding new things. Although you can still add something new, but it's best you actually finish up before doing that. So I can just come in here and click on generate rig, and the rig is going to create for me now. It's more like what we call a sort of helper rig that helps to make it easy for you to animate. So if I select this one that I used before, I can hide it or I can delete it, whatever I want to do with it, I can do that. So this is the rig that makes it easy for you. You can now select, maybe here, and you make it to stoop down. All right, so you just generate this helper rig. If you enter into edit mode, you actually see the rig. It's quite very complicated. So this is what Rigify does for you. It does all this. If you're actually using a real character, you have the eyes and everything that you can be able to work with, but that one is a different thing altogether. So now let's parent this character to this rig so that the rig can now control the character. To do that, we're just going to make sure you save before doing that. You click on this, the shape, that's the mesh itself, then hold down shift and select the rig. This, make sure you select the right rig, okay? So once you do that, you press Ctrl P. By default, if you're using this, automatic weight will always work. But if you're doing some other rigging, there are other options you can use. So but this one, automatic weight, it will just put any particular mesh that is around a particular bone is going to make that bone to control that particular mesh. So it's taking a bit of time to be able to do that, so you have to actually wait for it to finish up. So once you do that, you can test your rig. Now sometimes if you didn't model properly, some of your rigs might not work well. You have your shapes, when you test it, it's not going to be working well. So you can just go and adjust your shape, your mesh, and then come back again and test it again. So that's the solution in case you have that issue. So I'm going to click on this rig now. Just forget about the mesh now. Click on the rig, enter into pose mode now. Don't use edit mode for now, okay? That one is for advanced rigging. You want to do your own. So pose mode, and let's test this rig. I'm going to select this for the hand, the control for the hand, and you can move this, and you can see the character is actually moving. You can rotate. Let's make it to squat down. So let's see. Yep, it's working. Let's see what the neck is like. Sometimes the neck usually acts funny. Okay, so we'll have something like that, and let's see if it can be able to bow down. Let's see. We'll have that. So you see, you have some issues over here. So but one of the things that you could do is when you're moving this, just select these two guys and just move them down this way. And I think there should be another control somewhere at that point. Let me see. Let me see if that control will control it, or if we need to readjust it. Okay, we need everything here to be able to move whenever we do that. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to quickly just adjust this particular thing. Just come in here. I'm just doing this. This is not a rigging class. It's a bit complicated, but if you just model properly, it's going to, although we're not really going to be doing so much with this particular rig. So but I would like us to actually adjust this. Let me just test this again. Select this and try to bend it. So if you look at here, this part is not bending properly. So the easiest and the fastest way to resolve this is just enter into edit mode and look at this bone. The name of the bone, you just check it. The name of the bone is if you go over here, you see the head. That's the name of the bone. And now you can just go into the mesh, this mesh here, enter into edit mode. When you enter into edit mode now, you're going to go into the this edit mode here. All right, go down to this vertex. If you have this issue, just go back to this here where you have object data properties, this particular symbol. Okay, go up to where you have vertex groups. Now go find where you have the head. Just bring this up like this. Let's go find the head. So we'll have the spine, and we have let's find the head. One of the things you could do, okay, let me see if you could find it from here. Forehead, cheek, hand, and for some reason I'm unable to find the head. hand is here, forehead. Okay, so one of the things that we could do to make sure that we can find that is, I'm going to select this here and hide it for a while. Let me select this, enter into edit mode, and let's select this part. Let me be sure of the name. This is head, and this one is the neck. So this is the bone for the head here, and for some, let's press Alt H now and bring back that mesh. Just hide this one, come back here. Just want you to make sure that the name is there. Come back here. Unfortunately, there is no way to be able to search for a particular mesh automatically. If not, we would have used that. Let me just quickly, you can click out. If you click on this style and click on select, you actually see it selecting that style. That's the thing to do for you. So we need to actually find the head. Let's try getting this, let's see forehead. Select. I don't think that one has anything. The temple, the hand.l. Okay, those are the ones there. Click out. Okay, so if we can't find it here, the fastest way, another technique we can use to be able to resolve this is we're going to be using a weight paint. I didn't just want to go there too, so it doesn't become too ambiguous for you. So I'll select this mesh and go into my weight paint mode. So in weight paint mode, you can actually see what that thing controls. So I'm going to come in here, select this bone here now, enter into my pose mode, and my active bone will be this one. I'm going to use this as my active bone. Then come back here and select this one, enter into weight paint. So once you put your weight paint, let's see, it's, let me see, for some reason it's actually not seeing it. Okay, let me just see if I can. Oh, that's a real problem. I think we're going to leave that off for now. So probably I'm going to create, we're going to do a class on rigging where I'm going to teach you how to be able to rectify rigs that actually have problems and then how to resolve them. So for now, I think we have achieved our goal for this particular class, which is actually to create the thing. So this one will actually take a longer time. So to save our time, because we want to make sure that our classes are not too long. So I'm going to just leave it for now so that we don't overburden this particular lecture. So we'll be doing rigging as a topic on its own, and how we're going to be rectifying rigs when they actually malfunction. All right, I think that's what we're going to do just for today. All right.